want some sauce?
Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
What's up everybody, how's it going out there? In this video we're going to be making some killer spaghetti and meatballs, okay? Now when I say meatballs, it might be a meatball instead of meatballs, instead of the plural, because these meatballs are going to be pretty good size. These are going to be pretty big. And we want to cut this into a fairly fine dice. If you want to, you can grate this, which is a little bit easier for some. And that is fine too. So I'm going to take this and throw it in a bowl. I might have about 3/4 of a cup of onion in here for 2 pounds of meat. Right here I've got some mushrooms that I'm going to be cutting up and putting inside the meatball as well. I don't want real big chunks of mushroom, but I want the flavor to be in there. And one of the good things about the mushroom is it is going to suck up all sorts of juices from the meatball, and it's going to help kind of keep it moist. Hey, what kind of Italian food doesn't have garlic? So this is some pre-chopped garlic, and I'm going to be putting enough for maybe, it's probably equivalent to about 3 or 4 cloves. We're going to have to put salt in this. Of course, that's up to you and how much salt you want in your food. You can always add it later, but inside the meatball it's going to be really hard to add it. So now we're going to be putting black pepper. This is crushed basil leaf right here, and I think that's going to be good. That was about a teaspoon. Crushed parsley, this is about, I shouldn't say it's crushed, it's dried. I'd say about a tablespoon. A little bit of heat. This is actually a Korean hot chili pepper, but you can use cayenne. This is a little bit of oregano. Maybe a teaspoon. You don't have to put that in there. Now you can use a piece of bread that has been soaked in milk if you want to, and you squeeze out the milk, you throw it in here, that's fine. I'm going to be putting breadcrumbs, and this is going to be a binder, and that's about 1/4 of a cup, maybe 1/2 a cup. I think that's enough right there, breadcrumbs. But I am going to put a little bit of milk inside that. So we're going to put some Parmesan cheese, maybe that much. And we're going to add an egg. I want to mix this stuff up now, okay, instead of when the meat is in. And the reason why is because you don't really want to overmix your meat. And I know right now there's going to be somebody out there that's saying, that's what she said. Pound of beef, pound of pork. Oh, I should probably mention you should wash your hands before you do this. Nobody wants to eat the dirt that's on your hands. What we want is, we want this to be mixed well enough that we know that there is onions everywhere, and we know that the pork and the beef have been mixed well. But as soon as you end up having it where everything is mixed, leave it alone. Do not overmix it. At this point, we're good, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to end up turning these into the size ball that we want. And I think I'm going to be going with something that's almost the size of a baseball. I'm also going to end up using the same pan that I fried this up in to end up making my marinara. So there's going to be stuff on the bottom that's going to add to the flavor of the marinara. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some olive oil inside there. Like I said, I'm going to be going pretty big on these dudes right here. And we want to fry these all the way around. And if you want to make small ones like this, you can. It's not a big deal. You do whatever you want. They're your meatballs. If you suspect that they might stick, you can use a spatula to get started here. And a lot of times these guys will stick a little bit. So alright guys, so we have that done. As long as the bottom's not burnt, we're okay. If it's burnt, take it out. If it's brown, that's perfect, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to throw some more olive oil inside there. And now we're going to put our onions in, and I have added a red onion, but you can use yellow, you can use white. Now, this is the marinara, so we're going to add a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt. We can add salt a little bit later, but we don't want to overdo that right now. I'm going to add a little bit of oregano. Generally, I don't for a marinara. I usually use oregano when it's for like pizza and stuff, but in this case I'm going to add a little bit of dried basil. I'm going to add some garlic, and we're going to sweat these guys for a while, as well as try to get any of the remnants of the meatballs up off of the bottom of the pan. Now after I end up putting the tomatoes inside here, though, all of this will end up being dissolved into the sauce. I'm going to add just a touch of red wine, just to give it a little bit more of a complex flavor. It'll also help deglaze the pan a little bit. Okay, next ingredient, mushrooms. Anytime you add an ingredient, you got to think, oh, did I season that ingredient? No. So what we have to do is come back in, season the mushrooms, and salt and pepper, a little bit of basil, parsley, a little bit of crushed red pepper. I don't want to make it too hot. And don't worry, those mushrooms will break down. Right now they're firm and taking up a lot of space, but as they cook they'll shrink. They're going to give off some of their liquids. They're going to end up absorbing the flavor of the onions and all the other things that are inside the pot. Alright guys, so now dun, 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 we're going to be adding some crushed tomatoes, whole, and I'm going to squish these guys up inside the can, because if you try to squish them outside the can, you're going to wear all the tomato juice. And in about 15 minutes I can go ahead and also taste it for salt and pepper or anything else. Okay, so I had put the lid on, and now I'm just going to, I have this on the lowest setting, and I'm just going to let this stuff cook. So in 2 hours we will go ahead and get our garlic bread ready, and we will also end up getting our spaghetti ready. So this has been simmering for a while, and I had put a lid on it to maintain the moisture inside here. Now if you want this to be thicker, you can just do it with the lid off, but I wanted it to kind of stay a little runny. So grabbing some of the sauce, and what I want to do is I want to put some on each one of the meatballs, like that, okay? Because when we bake this, it's going to end up absorbing some of that tomato sauce, and it's going to become great. Before we bake it, we got more things to put on it. We got Parmesan cheese we need to put on all these, and I'm going to put mozzarella on top of each one of these. So now this can go into an oven at 350 degrees until the meatballs are cooked all the way through. In the last 5 minutes I'm going to turn the broiler on and then make sure that top gets nice and caramelized. And this is just some regular old French bread that's up on top here. There's actually a few different ways that you can make French bread, but I'm going to show you the easiest way that is the hardest to mess up. So now what we need to do is we need to take a stick of butter and we need to throw it in the microwave and melt it. And obviously you want to melt this inside a container, just don't throw the stick in there. But you only need to put it in for maybe 30 seconds for it to become softened. So I've melted the butter, and what I want to do is I want to put a generous amount of butter on every piece. Now this is not my preferred way of making garlic bread, but this is a way that is just fine. Any remaining butter, make sure you put it on areas that look like they might be dry. We want to sprinkle a little bit of black pepper on each one. Now I'm going to be using garlic powder for the garlic portion of this. And now we have to put Parmesan on here as well. This is dried parsley. And this is dried basil. And now this is ready to go into the oven. And you'd want to put it inside the oven. Once again, 350, 375. You can go 400 if you want, but you got to keep a close eye on it, because all we're trying to do is toast it. It's only going to take a couple of minutes. Okay, so the cheese has been nice and caramelized. Everything is cooked on this. It smells amazing in here. The water is boiling with the noodles in it. The bread has been toasted, so we're ready to plate this dude up.
I think I got all the cheese in one bite.
I think you did too. I was watching, I'm like, you're basically eating cheese, yeah. Usually my nephew or my wife is the taste tester. But we have a...
But the meat is very soft and very tender.
And is there enough like sauce on it, or do you need more?
It's perfect. I don't like being on the camera.
You're not on the camera, only the plate is.
Okay.
So it's just a voice. Nobody knows who you are. They can't trace you down.
It is very delicious.
Okay. So, I mean, you were expecting like an Italian sausage, like a hot sausage or something in it?
I wasn't expecting really anything. I think it's absolutely delicious, but because of the camera, I feel like I'm supposed to nitpick a little.
No, don't lie. Don't lie. I mean, my nephew, I always make sure it's kind of like, because if somebody ends up making it at home and they're like, this tastes like shit, you know, it's like, that's...
Well, in that case, to be honest, a little bit more marinara on the meatball.
Yeah, I can put more, dude.
No.
I mean, if you need some.
I'm not trying to...
No, but if that's going to make it better, then that's going to end up making it better.
That's so weird, though, that's so weird. I'm used to just eating what I get.
Oh.
And this is much, much better than I cook for me or anything.
When I cook, that's pretty much how I cook for everybody else.
The fact that you're sort of catering to my meal makes me feel
uncomfortable.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Dude, if you watch my other videos, you're going to see that I do it for everybody.
So I will admit, I do not like mushrooms. However, whatever you've done to these does not make them taste like mushrooms.
I wish I would have known that. I wouldn't have put them in there.
Well, whatever you've done to them, they don't taste like mushrooms. Like, they're delicious.
They're toadstools.
Right. Apparently, I like toadstools.
Okay, guys, that's that. If you like this video, make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and check out my other videos. I got tons. Till next time, talk to you later.